All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA draft video. In this video, I just want to go over some of the prospects one more time, as when you guys get this, we'll probably be a month out from the actual draft day, which will be very exciting. I want to talk about the teams and what their positions of need are, how I feel about some of these prospects. Some of them I'm a little bit more knowledgeable on, some of them I still need to do a little bit of homework, as we had the draft combine last week or the week before that. We know some stuff now. We have some rumors percolating. So yeah, I just want to talk about the draft a little bit, just ramble. I do have some stuff in front of me for talking points, but if you like what I say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. Also, the graphic in front of you, I've made half the graphic. The names, the numbers, the weights, the colleges, and everything are brought to you by Tankathon. I love Tankathon. I've been using Tankathon ever since I started doing draft stuff for just personal consumption, and now I'm using it for you guys, so you guys can be informed as well. And if Tankathon, you want to sponsor me, hit the email. I would gladly do more draft stuff if Tankathon sponsored me. But yeah, let's jump into this stuff. Like I said, we're gonna go not too in depth on some of these guys, and other guys I'm gonna go really in depth. Obviously, first one, we're gonna go from 1 all the way to, oh man, I cut off the numbers there. All the way to probably 30 at some point, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But the first team up with the number 1 pick is the Washington Wizards. Now, there are a bunch of thoughts floating around that they might trade this pick. They might trade down all the way, maybe even to 4 at some point, or have the opportunity to do that. I don't think they should. I just think they should take whoever they want to take, whether that be Darren Peterson, whether that be AJ Dybantsa. Is it Dybantsa or Dybantsa? I say Dybantsa. We'll know soon enough. They'll put it on Basketball Reference or something, and they'll have the pronunciation of it. Or Cameron Boozer. I've made it sort of clear when I did like my draft lottery video that I don't think there would need to be a lot of hoops for Washington to jump through for them to maybe think about doing the Cameron Boozer thing. I think Cameron Boozer is a really good player. He was, in my mind, and this is just like watching them, not looking at numbers, just watching them over this past college season. Cameron Boozer was like the second best player I watched all year, in my personal opinion. It was Cam, it was Darren, it was AJ. Cam is just such a talented player. He's a little slow on his feet. He didn't do the best at the combine, at the what's it called, like the shuffle, where they do the box shuffle. He I think he has some intangibles in him. I'm not sure if any of these guys, to be quite honest, are leaders. Like, are they ever, like, this is something like I think is underrated. Is like when I look at a draft prospect, if I think about them in 5 years, will this player be able to lead my locker room? Will they be able to lead other men? It's an underrated skill. I think it does come with time, but you can often see it sometimes, especially with this newer generation. They love to be nonchalant. They love to be like, "Oh, I'm so cool. I just play basketball." That it is kind of cool, but like I like a little bit more of like an FU attitude. I like a little bit of more, nah, you're going to listen to me. I'm the leader. This is my franchise. And when you're drafting the top 3 to top 5, you're looking for people that are leaders of franchise, that are franchise players. That's what the draft's for. The draft franchise players. And sometimes when you look back on these drafts, you're like, well, maybe the number 1, number 2 pick aren't they're franchise players, but they aren't leaders. But you bring in a leader, But I can't predict what these teams are going to do. So I'm just going based off what I know. And what I know is, some of these guys are a little nonchalant, a little, like, I don't know, underrated skill. But nevertheless, back to Washington, I think they would have to jump through a lot of hoops to even think about Cameron Boozer. I like the idea in my mind of like Cameron Boozer, Alex Sarr, Trey Young, Keyshawn George. I like the idea of it. If you could get something even more valuable, than number 3. I mean, you could get number 16 as well. If you say, hey, Memphis, you want to jump up to 1, give us 3 and 16, we could talk. And then you have 3 and 16, and then you could be down here. The Wizards could be down here at 16. picking again, which would be interesting as well. Bring in another rookie. Um, we'll see though. The Darren Peterson part of this going to the Wizards. Uh, I think Darren Peterson. I think I said it when I did his video. He looked like a more polished Devin Booker, and Devin Booker is like a 10-year pro now. Darren Peterson, by all accounts, from people that were at the draft combine, from the stuff I've read, from the stuff I've heard, um, is the second. Let me use something very blasphemous, but is the second coming. He's a very, very above average. How old is this kid? What, 20-year-old? 19. He's gonna be, yeah, he's 19 and a half years old. Like by the time the draft, he's gonna be 19 and a half year old. He's all world. I don't know if he fits with Trae Young in Washington. I don't know if that works, especially because he prefers to play the point guard spot. And listen, I'll say this as well. Going through some of these guys as well. If I'm a coach, I'm gonna tell you what I want you to play. I don't care what you want to play as a rookie. You're gonna get you might get to play the position you want. You might not. Some days you won't. Some days you might. I'm gonna make sure you're well versed at every position, and then we can come together at the mid-season mark and be okay. It's not working with you at point guard. It's not working with you at shooting guard. We need to move you here. We need to do this. We need to get you in better spots to do this and that. That's a whole scheme thing. That's a whole coaching staff thing. Obviously, you can't predict how a person's going to look in your offense if you haven't seen it. But if his preference is to play point guard, then obviously Trae Young and him don't work in the backcourt together because there's only one ball. And the question becomes, can Trae Young can be a shooting guard? I guess, but he can't guard shooting guards. Is Darren Peterson really that good of a defender? I mean, like, we go look at his numbers here. Almost 2 steals, not even a block a game. He's a very athletic defender, but I don't think he necessarily obviously doesn't have the IQ because he's not in the NBA yet. Could he ever get to that point? Yeah, I think so. But I think he still would hover around that Devin Booker area where Devin Booker isn't a negative defender, but he isn't a really positive defender most nights. He's just like average. And could the Wizards get away with an average player, 2 average players in the backcourt defensively, but the offense be so high powered? Maybe. And the thing about also AJ and Darren that works in Washington is that the thought process is you're going to have Trae, who's a bad defender, AJ or Darren, and then you're going to have Keyshawn, maybe, depending on who the 3 is, and then you have AD and Sar in the front court as the center and power forward duo. Does that make up for the inability of the backcourt or the guards and the wings? Maybe. Do I trust Alex Sar at this point in his career to jump up that level? I think so. Do I trust Anthony Davis to retain that defensive title that he has at age whatever with so many injuries? No. And that leads me into back to where we started with Darren Peterson or AJ Dembele, where he's the safe pick, right? AJ Dembele is a safe pick. You can play him at shooting guard, small forward. He fits in the gaps with the Wizards. I think he would look superb next to Trae Young. I think he has a lot of, I don't say untapped potential because he's a number 1 pick, but he's a lot of untapped potential that I think Trae Young can unlock, making AJ's life easier because I want to say he played on a bad BYU team, but he played on like an average BYU team where he had to have the ball in his hand most of the time. And then you're going to be set up by one of the greatest setup guys of the last 5 to 6 years in Trae Young and make your life a hell of a lot easier. You get kickouts from Sar, from AD, and it would look good. And Peterson is the one that you're like, well, he probably has the most upside. And people are saying he'll probably be the best player from this draft in 5 years, I think conservatively, I would take AJ, just say take it, don't trade the pick, just keep it, and see what you can do with AJ. And at worst, at some point in the next 5 years, it's going to be AJ and Sar. And I like that duo way better than any combination of Boozer and Sar or Peterson and Sar. I think having 2 forwards sort of works, and that's where the prototypical NBA franchise cornerstones are going. You look at Boston, obviously Jalen and Jason. You look at the San Antonio Spurs. You look at Victor, Devin Vassell, um, who else in the front? Keldon Johnson. That's a sturdy front court. Obviously, some of these teams I'm going to mention have good backcourt help as well. But you sort of want more seasoned backcourt players versus um, young guards. And this is a very good guard class from all accounts. This is a very deep guard class, but being a guard takes time in the NBA, and it takes time to. You never know what players are going to turn out to be really good guards. Devin Booker was the 13th pick in his draft, and I keep referring to Devin Booker, but Devin Booker was the 13th pick in this draft, and he's the all-time leading scorer for the Phoenix Suns as a franchise. You wouldn't have predicted that. Who's number 13 right now? LeBaron Philon? I don't know nothing about LeBaron Philon too much, so I can't say if he's going to be good or bad. But you never know. You just don't know. It's a gamble. I don't know why I said that, but I did. Um, Moving on to Utah here at number 2. They have them, Tankathon has them taking Darren Peterson. Here we run into another issue where Darren Peterson wants to play the point. Well, they already have Keontae George, right? Keontae George. Maybe the thought process is, well, Keontae just had a what do you call it, a breakout year last year. You bring in Peterson. Maybe they fight over starting point guard spot, and maybe you move on from Keontae, or I won't say move on from Peterson, but you let them fight it out and let them see who's better, because Keontae wants an extension, and then maybe like, well, we don't want to give you an extension, so we're gonna sign and trade you, and then you have Darren Peterson. They have a lot going on in Utah. I've said this before, and a lot of people have said it before. The owner of the owner, that's not the right word, governor of the Utah Jazz is an alumni of BYU. Danny Ainge went to BYU, I believe, who's in the front office, helping out with his son in the front office, and they're infatuated. They're licking their lips. That sounds crazy for AJ Dybantsa, and they want him bad. Will they get him? I don't know. Could it be a blessing in disguise that you're not going to get the hometown kid and you have to take Darren Peterson? I think so. Like I did the whole spiel a couple minutes ago. Darren Peterson probably has the most upside in this draft. Um, will it work out in Utah? I could see it working out, or you could be in the limbo of all limbos and not be able to work out this roster because you have so much talent. Just thinking about it, it'd be Keontae George, it'd be Darren Peterson, it'd be Lauri Markkanen, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Walker Kessler coming off a shoulder injury, a separated shoulder, I believe. That's a really good 5, but like that's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of bodies, And I think on paper I really love it. I think over time, again in like the next 5 years, if I had to think about this team, do I like a team of like Darren Peterson, um, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Walker Kessler? I like it well enough. I just don't know if I love it. And moving back to AJ here, moving back to AJ, would I like it more with AJ? I think it's an awkward fit either way. I think Utah's just in an awkward situation either way they look, whether they look up in the draft at AJ or they look down at Boozer or Wilson. I think they're just in an awkward situation. Even though this is a very guard-heavy draft, the top 4 picks are like wings, essentially. AJ's a wing. Darren's a wing at times. Obviously, Cameron Boozer's a forward/wing. Caleb Wilson's a forward/wing. You get down to 5 where the Clippers are. Keontae Wagler is the second, the real guard to go, the first real guard, point guard, shooting guard. And then you get a bunch of them in a row, heading all the way down to about 10. I just think Utah's in a pickle, and you can't predict the future. You couldn't have predicted you get the number 2 pick. You could have predicted you get a top 5 pick, let's be honest, right? You should be prepared for any situation, and I don't think I would make a couple calls to Washington and try to get the number 1 pick, but I wouldn't stress myself. I think it's a blessing in disguise if you take Peterson. Before I move on, which would they prefer positionally? Um, I think positionally, I think I think they have a good enough coach in what's their coach's name? Oh Lord, I can't remember his name, but they have a good enough coach in Utah. I think to unlock and make Darren Peterson comfortable. I think AJ would be a bit more of a hard fit. And I think AJ, for all he is, for all like the off the court stuff, him now being an alum of BYU and him going to Utah, staying in the area, um, would be lovely. I think you could look back on this and be like, well, we missed out on our guy who they've had on their board, their big board. He's probably number one on their big board. We have to take two and we have to take Pearson. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's bad at all. Moving on to 3. Now, 3 is where we start to get really interesting. I'll stop talking about the trades and everything. We'll talk about Cameron Boozer going 3, just as a base. We're not talking about him going up, going to 1, going to 2, because we already kind of alluded to that fact. Let's talk about him going to 3. Or we can talk about him going to 3, or we can talk about them swapping. Number 4, Chicago Bulls, and number 3, Bulls. Not necessarily swapping their picks, but swapping who they're taking. I think Wilson and Cameron Boozer are a bit more alike in their deficiencies than people want to admit. They both had a similar time in the cone shuffle. They both had a similar time in the sprints. So it's not too far fetched to say like they are different players necessarily. I like Cameron Boozer more just because I've seen him more. I do have an okay feeling about Caleb Wilson. He did miss a bunch of time of his one college season. I didn't get to watch him that much. But just taking a forward, because they're both, Cameron's a power forward, probably could play some center, but probably won't have to. And Caleb Wilson's a small forward / power forward. Talking about Cameron going to the Grizzlies. I like it. I think a front court of Boozer and Edey is good enough. The big question is Edey going to stay healthy? Because Edey hasn't been healthy the first 2 years of his career. Hasn't been healthy. Is Ja Morant going to be there for at least maybe 1 year, year and a half, maybe? I think Cameron Boozer is a good enough talent to be on his own for a year or two. You know, let's say they trade Ja Morant and he's the lone star now, right? It's him, it's Cam Boozer, it's uh what's his name? Jeez, pulled it up. It's Cam Boozer, it's Ty Jerome, it's Cedric Coward, it's Gigi Jackson, it's Jalen Wells. You know, is that enough? Well, it's not that enough. Is that a good enough situation for Cam Boozer? I think so. I think them growing together, the Grizzlies redoing their previous rebuild and doing it this time with a bit more, um, um, sorry, a bit more purpose. You know, they tried the rebuild. It was Dylan Brooks. It was Jaren Jackson Jr. It was Desmond Bain. It was Ja Morant. I'm not saying it didn't work, but like it had a cap, and they realized it had a cap. Would this next one have a bigger ceiling in 5 years? I think so. Even if Zach Edey's never healthy, you can always get another. You can always get another center, and you probably don't want to be bad. You can't be bad next year because you have to be like middle of the pack, okay, to get a really high draft pick, even if the draft pick isn't amazing. Um, but could you would you be okay with Kevin Boozer being the center, like being the center of like your franchise along with um, Cedric Howard and whoever else pops up? I mean, they got Cam Spencer too, Gigi Jackson, Jalen Wells. You know, I think yeah, I think I like the idea of that. Do I like it better than Caleb Wilson? Yeah. Um, do I like? Now here we go, going downwards. Do I like Karen Boozer in Chicago? Not necessarily. I feel like it would be the best situation for the Bulls, like for them as a franchise, but it would not be a great situation for Cam because, well, it would be good because he's with Jordan Brand and it would be like Jordan athlete going to Chicago, always nice, but that's like off the court stuff. Um, there's a lot. There's just there's, and I think Chicago bringing in their new GM or basketball operations guy will help, but they should if Cam Boozer goes, it's such a log jam because then you have what's his name, Montes Buzelis, who's a forward, plays some power forward. You have Josh Giddey, you have Rob Dillingham now, you have Noah Essege, who's apparently grown like 2 feet, who's a power forward now, probably play some center as well. Um, it's the beginning of a rebuild for them, and it'd be a long time before we hear about Cameron Boozer again. It'd be a long, long time. That being said, however, finishing the Cam Boozer stuff, him going at 3, good. Um, Caleb Wilson going to Chicago after all the negative things I said about Chicago, I think would be good. I think it would be the attempt at a Patrick Williams type yet again. And Patrick Williams did not work out when they drafted him many, many years ago. Will it work with Caleb Wilson? Sure. North Carolina guy going to Chicago. Sound familiar? Michael Jordan. Um, could be seen as a return to something familiar for Chicago fans and Chicago ownership as well. Um, him playing with, I think I like the idea of like Josh Giddey, shooting guard, whoever, Caleb Wilson, Montes Buzelis, and Noah Essege as like the core rather than Boozer. Because Boozer can't play the 3. He's either a 4 or 5. Probably more of a 4. Caleb Wilson's a bit more flexible in that aspect where he could play either wing spot, small forward, power forward. They might even throw him at shooting guard because like they don't have a coach right now, right? Yeah, they don't have a coach. I don't know what the coach wants to do with them. So we'll see there. Um, there's no way Chicago takes a guard. It's too crowded. Like I just mentioned, they got so many of these names. I mean they had Jaden Ivey. We don't talk about Jaden Ivey though. They don't have a lot of money on their books, so they are flexible to maybe go get a veteran guard or a veteran presence to help this younger team. But like, are these guys on the books for next year? Active roster, yeah. So let's see. Active roster would be Josh Giddey, Isaac Okoro's a guard, yeah. So that's 2. Trey Jones 3. Rob Dillingham 3. One, 2, 3, 4. Um, maybe they could take a guard now that I'm looking at the like financial summary for next year. Maybe, maybe, maybe. I don't know. I don't. Do you reach for like a Keaston Flemings? Do you reach for like a Darius Acuff? Do you reach for like a Braden Burries or Mikael Brown Jr.? I don't think so. And then after that, you get down to the LeBaron Philon where he is at 13. Yeah, I don't know. I think you take if you pass on Caleb Wilson and he falls to um, the Clippers. The Clippers are obviously going to take him. It's a no brainer. Um, Speaking of the Clippers, I've heard a lot of things about. They're in a bit of limbo right now because they could take any number of these guards, and it seems like they're focusing on a guard on a guard. They don't want to take a center. They want to or a forward. They want to take a guard. So those guards could be Keontae Wagler, Keista Flemings, Darius Acuff, Brandon Burries, Mikael Brown Jr. Out of these ones that are close in the range, or at least predicted to be close in this range, um, I would say, and this has been floated around far before I've said it right here, right now. Um, Maybe you reach for an Acuff, and maybe you just try to figure out. It's insurance for Darius Garland, who isn't been healthy his whole career. It's a promise of a future that maybe if Darius Garland can never be healthy, Darius Acuff could be something. I don't know too much about Keaston Flemings. I did like that Houston team though. Um, I really did like that Houston team. I'm not sure if Keaston Flemings. All these guys are 6'3" that I'm talking about. Brandon Burrs is 6'5". Mikael Brown Jr. is 6'4". Keontae Wagler is the only. Oh, him and Brandon Burrs are the only combo guard, shooting guard, point guard, and Keontae Wagler is 6'6". Um, I understand them going for like a combo guard, but where does that leave? Like, would you rather have one of these guys over like Benedict Mathurin, who's basically your starting shooting guard this whole second half of the season? Maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, do they even have? Is do am I even thinking about something that's even possible? Do they even have uh what's his name? I'm sorry, I just said his name. I'm drawing a blank on it. Do they even have um Benedict Mathurin on the books next year? They don't. So I mean, you could be just going for your Benedict Mathurin replacement, which I could understand. That I could understand that. I mean, you could go Keontae Wagler out of Illinois. I think I watched like 2 games of his, and he played decently enough. I mean, he's 19 years old, 19 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But yeah, I don't. I agree with the Clippers and at least the rumors that they shouldn't take a center or a forward. Just take a guard. I mean, leave the rest of the centers for the other people in the draft, right? um, moving on here, talk about the Nets a little bit. Some of these I'm just going to breeze through right now. Nets at 6. You do need a guard. You have a. I mean, you don't need a guard, but you kind of do because you took a bunch of guards last year. Guard like ball handler, forwardish guards last year. You probably need a real one. I'm not gonna lie to you. Even though they just got rid of Cam Johnson, who's also like a scoring guard, I like Darius Acuff for the Nets. I think they should take Darius Acuff. I know Keaston Fleming is here. I just said I liked him on Houston, but Houston had a lot of culture. They already had a lot of like stuff, you know? I'm not sure if Fleming is going to be able to adjust to this poorly run Brooklyn Nets team as quickly as Darius Acuff is, who Darius Acuff, a disciple of John Calipari, now at Arkansas. John Calipari, one of the best guard whisperers, we'll call him as a coach. Notable names recently: Tyrese Maxey, Devin Booker. Well, Rob Dillingham's one, but that one we'll see how it goes. Um, just a bunch of really good guards in the NBA that have his coaching style and his wisdom that he imparts upon his guards transfers really well. And I think having Darius Acuff, having at least uh, something around him would be good. I think you roll the dice on Darius Acuff when you know John Calipari produces really good guards. I think that'd be a really smart thing to do. Um, talk about the Kings. Do I really have to talk about the Kings? I feel bad for Kings fans, but I think saying anybody should go to the Kings is like sending somebody to like the fifth layer of Dante's Inferno. Like it's just not it's just not something I wish upon anybody. Just not something. Take somebody who inspires your team and inspires um the city once again because it was really fun when the Kings would light the beam. Um, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, like that era. That was just a couple years ago. Feels like it was a long time ago, but it wasn't. Um, I like that idea. Just get somebody inspiring. Get somebody who's just okay. This was a guy who was predicted to be around here. Let's take him. Um, that's my notes about the Kings. Moving on to 8. The Hawks. I think this is just I'm pulling this out of my rear end. I think the Hawks might trade this. I don't think they need another guard. I don't think they need another. Like, do you take a Nate Ahmet? Are you going to reach at 10 for Nate Ahmet? I mean, he's not ready. He's a project. I mean, you're. I mean, I would say take Nate Ahmet if you're not going to bring back Jonathan Kaminga, because then that's just like he gets Jonathan Kaminga's minutes. But like in a world, maybe you could maybe attach 8 and Zachary Richachet and maybe actually get something for him. I would consider doing that. And maybe trading down with somebody. I mean, like I'm not gonna go through the whole mental exercise right now, but that's a thought you could do. Just not take anybody. You don't need a guard. You have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's gonna opt out of his deal at some point. You're gonna have to pay him. You have Dyson Daniels, who you hope can regain his form from where he was uh, a year ago now. Um, I don't think you need a guard. If you want a project, I mean, yeah, Nate Ahmet, you want to reach for like Yaxel Lenenborg, sure. Um, there's Kareem Lopez here. Again, like you're running into the same thing where it's like you already have Zachary Richachet. Like, do you want no offense to like Kareem Lopez? I mean, do you want like another guy who's a project? You already have a project on your books. You don't need that. And I mean, like maybe maybe this is a hot one because this one was he did really good at the combine, but maybe you do a huge reach, and you go for a Day Mara from Michigan who just won a national championship as your future center because like Neka Kungwu for all he is, um, isn't your it can't be your starting center on a championship team. Could a Day Mara his um, physicals are really good. He's what is this? He's 21 years old, so he's a bit more mature. Um, 7'4". Is that 25? No, I thought it was a 25-foot wingspan. That would be crazy. 260, 21 years old, 4 blocks a game, 3 assists, 10 rebounds. That might be something right there. I might have to call the GM of the Hawks and tell him, hey, take a Daymara. And a Daymara is a name that's going to pop up for a lot of these teams here, just so you guys know. Also, Yaxel Lenenborg is going to pop up a lot too when I talk about the rest of these teams. Um, but yeah, I mean, you could reach for a center or forward. I don't see why not. I mean, Jalen Johnson is more of a forwardish, point forward kind of person. So, like, taking a center like a Daymara to be that backline defender would be really good and to just grab the rebound and toss it out and get it to Jalen Johnson in transition, where then he can play make in transition. Ooh, I like that. Actually, I'm gonna write that one down. That was good. That's a prediction for the draft. Actually, that's the first prediction of this video. The Atlanta Hawks will take a bigger forward slash center. Moving on to the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks new head of basketball operations, GM, mastermind, pulling the strings, Masai Ujiri, in the pilot seat now for this franchise. No Jason Kidd, so we don't have any idea what this team could look like. That Kyrie stuff is floating around out there. Um, I don't know what the Mavericks should do. I think it's another guy. I think you should take Nate Ahmet. Take Nate Ahmet. Unless you trade Kyrie, then obviously take a guard to fill his spot. But if you're going to keep Kyrie, take Nate Ahmet out of Tennessee. Um, he's a project. I watched him a lot. I have a whole video on him. I really like Nate Ahmet. I thought he was going to go higher. He kind of like trailed off towards the end of the season a little bit. But 20 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Um, Sort of like, and this is just me saying this, just watching him. Sort of like OG Anunoby ish. Sort of like, trying to think of another like card like that, like another forward like that. Nate Ahmed is like OG Anunoby ish, sort of like maybe at the worst Jonathan Kaminga ish. Uh-oh. Jonathan Kaminga if he actually cared. That's Nate Ahmed. Um, yeah, sort of like that. Just he's a project. And Dallas is. I don't think Dallas is in any rush. I think Masai Ujiri is going to commit to this rebuild, be bad for a couple years. Well, not be bad, just be mediocrely okay, just to get a good pick. And Nate Ahmet can just wait around with Cooper Flag, and he could bounce off Cooper too and learn some things from Cooper because Cooper is a very good defensive player, and Cooper's gonna keep taking those steps. And if Nate Ahmet can follow right behind him, that's a dangerous front court of Nate and Cooper. I like that a lot. Um, but they have them taking. Tankathon has Dallas Mavericks taking Mikael Brown Jr. Again, only take a guard if Kyrie's not going to be there. Don't waste a pick on a guard if he's just going to sit behind Kyrie. I mean, like that's nothing bad to sit behind a veteran guard, but like you're in the top 10, you might as well just swing on a project. For the Bucks at 10, Nate Ahmet is scheduled to be here at 10. I don't mind this. The thing with the Bucks is there's just so much in limbo. The Giannis stuff is always a factor. Is Giannis going to be there? Is he not? I don't even want to make a thought about the Bucks because I have no idea what's going on. We have no idea. We don't have any idea what's been going on for the last year. Doc Rivers isn't there anymore. What's his name is going to be Taylor Jenkins is going to be there. He coached the Memphis Grizzlies to a very successful rebuild ish. Uh, I think he's there for a rebuild. I don't think they're trying to compete again. Maybe. So I have no comment on the Bucks right now. I think they should just whatever it is a month from now, they should just take the best player available and just hope he turns out good. I think that's what the Bucks should do. Um, Moving on at 11 to the Golden State Warriors. I think the Golden State Warriors should take a center. They should take a center slash forward. Yaxel Lenenborg. If a Daymar is there at 11, take him. Take him, please. Take him. I know he isn't a typical Warriors guy. I know he doesn't shoot the three, but he's a really good, just stand in the paint, like almost Rudy Gobert type of player right now, where he's gonna be there. You know, if somebody gets past Steph, a Daymar is gonna be there. Does Steve Kerr want to play a rookie like that? I don't know. I hope he wants to, because I think a Daymar is gonna be really good. So yeah, notes for the Warriors: take a forward, take a bigger forward. Take somebody who's almost, I won't say a guaranteed thing, but somebody who is at least going to get playing time and can at least have an effect on the game immediately as a rookie. Um, those are my notes for them. Yaxel, Ademara, I mean, Kristen Ack, maybe, Heinz Steinbach. Who else is here? Koa Pete, that's a big reach. Um, let's see here. Tona Yesufu, that's a guard, so that's a wing sort of player. Um, moving on here to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Um, how about we don't? How about we just don't talk about Oklahoma? How about that? In all seriousness, I think Oklahoma's in a very similar situation to the Warriors and um, the Atlanta Hawks, where like they don't. There's only certain situations where they should take another guard. I don't think they need to. I think they have a plethora of guards and wings. I think if anything, they should take a center, just like the Warriors. Just like take somebody who's going to make an immediate impact. Might not even start, but can make an impact when he is out on the floor. And I think that again is Jackson Lenenborg or Ademar. Um, moving on to the Heat. Now this is a team I think that should take a guard. I think you are maybe sort of lacking in guard help, if especially if you're trying to trade for Giannis, you're going to need a guard because Tyler Hero is going to have to be in that deal to get Giannis. Um, you need to take a guard. Any guard that's here that drops, LeBaron Philon scheduled to be here at 13. If Mikael Brown Jr. is here, if Braden Burries is here, if Darius Acuff falls all the way to 13, the Heat take him, take him. That's my notes. Take him, please. He would look that'd be kind of crazy. I would like that a lot actually. Um, that'd be really good. Um, Charlotte, I think. Well, if Daymar is here at 14, freaking take him. But if I think this is another team that I think they don't need. I think they're done with their rebuild. They should trade this pick and try to maybe get something. Maybe get some future assets. They have another pick at 18. I'm going to say the same thing. Maybe you should take these two picks, package them, and then maybe try to go get a real player that's already in the league. I think that would be the smart thing to do because your rebuild's done. You don't need to bring in a Daymar. You don't need to bring in Johnson Jr. I don't think you really need another guard or another anything. You have your future set. I would try to trade out of this draft or trade down to the late first round, early second round, so you don't have to pay the rookie that much, so you can maybe send him to the G League, let him develop a little bit, see what he is. Um, at 15, again, another team coming up. Well, we have a bunch of teams coming up here: Chicago, um, Memphis, and OKC, and then Charlotte again. Well, I'll say for these three teams at 15, 16, and 17, Chicago, Memphis, and OKC is. I'm not gonna predict anything or say anything because like it's gonna really depend what they do with that first pick that they have early in this draft. Um, I don't know enough about Chris Nack, Heinz Steinbach, or Johnson Jr. So I'm not gonna say anything about it. I'm just gonna leave that to the other professionals who know this draft a little bit better. Um, Bennett Sturts going to Toronto. I think at some point in the near future, um, the Toronto Raptors will have to get rid of Emmanuel quickly. And again, I think taking any guard at this spot that's left over that has the biggest upside would be good for Toronto. Because I really I like what Toronto's building. I like um, Scotty Barnes. I like Colin Murray Boyles. I like a lot of what they're doing. I don't like that that Jakob Poeltl contract, but everything else about this Raptors team I really like. I just made a video talking about them having a finals NBA finals level coach in Darko Rajakovic. Um, I think the future is very bright, and I think taking anybody with great upside is good. A little bit older of a player, if you're looking at Bennett Sturts, 22 years old, not a great rebounder, one of the better scorers in this range. Yeah, one of the better scorers in this range. I mean, I don't know what they want to do. I don't know what the Raptors want to do. So we'll just leave it there. Um, Spurs are taking, according to Tankathon, Jaden Quaidance, young player, 18 years old, forward slash center, not a big time scorer, not a big time anything at this range. The Spurs have a lot of picks in this draft. I don't think I would. This is another team that maybe we don't need to take more players. Maybe we just need to trade this pick and trade out of it, and maybe take a second rounder. Maybe pick up somebody on a flyer and just trade out of this pick. I don't think they need that. Same thing with Detroit. I I don't think Detroit needs young guys anymore. I think they need to make win now moves. So this pick might be included in a trade down the road here in the near future. So yeah, don't need that. Alan Graves at 22 to Philadelphia. Sure, I mean, 76 of a, they got rid of Daryl Morey, so who the hell knows what they want to do? Actually, I really don't know. We're a month away from the draft, and they don't have a GM or basketball operations guy. That's concerning. So I'm going to resign myself from that one. Um, Here at 23 again is the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, if you didn't take a center or forward with your earlier pick, take it now. I mean, that would be like what? Isaiah Evans, Dalen Swain, Joshua Jefferson, Tona Yesufu. You could reach for Tona Yesufu. That could be your Jonathan Kuminga replacement right there. Tona Yesufu, 19 points. Doesn't is okay defender. Not great assist guy, but you know, I mean, you take it where you can get it. Isaiah Evans. I like Isaiah Evans well enough. He went to Duke. He looked okay with Cameron Boozer. Moving on to the New York Knicks at 24. I don't know what the Knicks need. I don't think they need more young guys. I think they're fine. Maybe they trade down. Maybe they trade out of this. Maybe they just take somebody who's going to be a G League guy for a couple years. I don't know. I mean, at worst, I mean, I think maybe they need some shooting guard depth. So Dalen Swain, not a bad option. Because like you're not bringing back Jordan Clarkson. You're not bringing you like Miles McBride, but I don't think he's a starter. Maybe you need like a backup to the backup. So Dalen Swain be a good one at Texas. Sure. Lakers take anybody with good upside. I mean, they're in the similar situation with some of these other teams where like they might trade this pick. It might be included in a trade, so they might even have this selection. Um, the Denver Nuggets taking Ibuke Ekori out of Stanford, a point guard. 20, 20, if he can get to 13 points as a rookie, because he averaged 23 in college, that'd be impressive. One steal a game, 1.5 steals. Um, what are his? If he has good shooting splits, then definitely take him. Shooting splits: 35% from three, 46% from field goal, 7 to 16 field goal, seven field goals made, 16 attempted, 31 games played. Doesn't foul a lot, not a lot of turnovers. I could see it. I could see it. I don't know if the Nuggets need rookies though. They might not. The Nuggets have so many questions this offseason. I'm not even gonna touch that. Celtics at what was this 27? Joshua Jefferson. I don't know anything about Joshua Jefferson, so this is another team. I keep saying it. I'm sorry. This is another team that might not even have this pick. They might trade it, so we don't know. Um, I mean, at worst, just because I don't know enough about Joshua Jefferson, maybe the Celtics take Tona Yesufu, or maybe they reach for somebody else. Maybe a borderline first rounder that's in the second round. That's predicted to be a second round, perhaps. Um, at 28, Tona Yesufu for the Timberwolves, I would definitely take that. You need help. You need somebody. You need somebody to play, not the Dante DiVincenzo role specifically, but you need somebody to play. Could this be in a trade? Perhaps. I mean, it's their only pick they have, at least in the first round, so maybe it could be traded. But at worst, I mean, you get Tona Yesufu, that'd be really good. Get somebody to play those minutes that um, Dante DiVincenzo was playing, or maybe you don't bring back what's his name, Bones Highland. Maybe you're just so up on that was that rookie not that rookie. Was that player that had a really good breakout game? I always get his name mixed up with somebody else. Um, Terrence Shannon Jr. Maybe Terrence Shannon Jr. takes a step up and he's more in the rotation. So you have this other pick of Tony Yesufu who can just play spot minutes when you need him to. That'd be an okay idea. Mari Allen for the Cavaliers. We'll see if they want to take a rookie. I mean, they're so deep into this competing now. I'm not even sure they want another player that they have to pay. You wouldn't have to pay him that much. You might be a G League guy at this point. And then at 30, the Dallas Mavericks. Again, it all depends who they take with that other pick. And they're taking Tankathon hasn't taken Malik Thomas. So yeah, and he's a point guard, shooting guard. I mean, if you haven't taken a guard and you took a forward or whatever the case may be, take him now. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. Just wanted to hop in here, talk about some players. I guess I should claim some players that I think I want to like root for next year. Obviously, I'm gonna root for Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer. I have nothing against AJ. Just AJ doesn't speak to me like that. Peterson, Boozer. I root for Acuff just to see what he turns out to be. I met Yaxel if he doesn't end up in OKC. I'll root for Yaxel. Ade Mara. Yeah, those I would claim those guys. I would root for those guys. Sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just my last. This probably be my last one where I talk about the draft until we get a little bit closer to it. Maybe some trades have happened by then, and we'll see what the landscape is like then. But thank you to Tankathon for this draft order. Thank you for the stats. Thank you for everything. Again, if you want to sponsor me, not sponsored, but if you want to sponsor me, you know where to find me. The end screen should be playing right now. Check out my road to the 2026 NBA draft on the right. Check out the video on the left. If you click my icon right in the middle, a little subscribe will pop up, and you can subscribe with ease. Like and comment as well. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.